Okay, tell me why, als wäre ich nicht schon genug gestresst, weil ich in 2 Stunden nach Rio de Janeiro fahre, nicht gepackt habe und generell unfassbar gestresst bin, weil ich gerade in einer sehr unsicheren Situation mit meinem nächsten Host bin und das alles einfach zu viel ist. Ich check gerade so meine E-Mails, weil auf der Reservierungsseite von meinem Hostel stand so, ja, du kriegst da eine Confirmation per E-Mail. Ich war so, ah, nice. Soll ich mal checken, ob ich die bekommen habe? Ich hatte nämlich meine alte E-Mail-Adresse noch bei dem Account drin. Check ich meine E-Mails. Ja, weil du nur eine Nacht bei uns bist, musst du den ganzen Betrag bezahlen und nicht erst, wenn du ankommst, sondern halt im Voraus. Hier ist ein Link, macht's mal bitte. Ich so, jo, okay. Bisschen Panik, weil ich war so, ja, okay, ich habe jetzt halt technically noch keinen Raum, kein Zimmer, Dings, kein Bett, was auch immer. War aber so, ja gut, gebe ich halt meine Daten ein. Mach ich das? Erstmal Panik, weil man einen CPF eingeben musste und nicht einen irgendwas anderes. Dann konnte ich aber doch meinen Pass auswählen. Dann konnte man aber nur Nummern eingeben. Also musste ich in meiner Notiz-App die Zahlen und die Buchstaben von meinem Pass eingeben und dann copy und pasten und dann rein. Hat, thank God, funktioniert. Dann konnte man keine deutsche Adresse als Billing-Address angeben. Also habe ich die brasilianische angegeben. Und dann ist dieses scheiß Payment nicht durchgegangen. Und ich so, Digga, Junge, ich bin runter zu meinem Haus. Ich war so, Junge, ich fange wirklich gleich an zu heulen. Und wir haben es nochmal versucht, es ging nicht. Dann habe ich dieser Person, die mir die E-Mail geschrieben hat, auf WhatsApp geschrieben, weil da eine Nummer verlinkt war. Die Nachricht geht natürlich nicht durch, weil ist anscheinend nicht deren Schicht. Keine Ahnung, Digga. Und dann haben wir aber konkludiert, sie werden wohl hoffentlich irgendeinen Raum frei haben und dann kann ich den halt nehmen, wenn ich dann da bin und dann dort bezahlen. Man braucht ja theoretisch keine Reservierung. Und das ist ja nicht mehr Karneval, deswegen sollten die einen frei haben. Aber so, Bro, Digga, wirklich, ich bin so gestresst. Weißt du, jetzt fahre ich 8 Stunden lang in eine komplett fremde Stadt, die sehr dafür known ist, dass es da gefährlich ist, dass du nicht deine Belongings mit dir die ganze Zeit rumtragen sollst. Und ich habe nicht mal ein fucking safes Zimmer. Abgesehen davon, dass das Check-in sowieso 5 Stunden ist, nachdem ich da ankomme.
Abgesehen davon fahre ich kein Motorrad.
Aber so, ich hätte wenigstens gerne ein Hostel, wo ich safe hingehen kann. Bruder, ich hasse sowas wirklich. Nee, nee. Weißt du, ich hab noch nicht mal eine Itinerary. Ich weiß noch nicht, was ich machen will. Das bin ich jetzt gerade am Plan. Meine Handys sind nicht geladen. Ich kann das alles nicht mehr. Ich krieg einen Herzkasper, Alter. Urlaub ist entspannend. Scheißdreck, Digga. Ich brauch Urlaub vom Urlaub. Aber zuerst muss ich meinen Bus bekommen. Und lustigerweise hat die Frau, die neben mir im Bus saß, einfach 10, 15 Jahre lang in Deutschland gelebt und konnte Deutsch und hat mir die ganze Situation erklärt mit den Pausen etc. Basically macht der Bus je nach Länge der Fahrt einige Pausen an einer Raststätte, wo es auch ein Restaurant gibt, da kannst du auf Klo gehen oder was essen und dann fährt man weiter. I was genuinely not prepared for how cold it was gonna be in that bus. The AC was crazy. God bless the woman next to me for sharing her blanket with me, and I also wrapped myself in the kanga that I borrowed from my host. In Rio, we actually took an Uber together because her house was close to my hostel, which she actually walked me to, because as I later found out, at the end of the street there was a favela. Was stuck in my head each time I had to walk up those stairs. And the hostel had this thing where you could choose a cup based on your availability on dating, and I absolutely loved it. And while I was checking in, I met this guy that I ended up going to Christ the Redeemer with. Now, don't get me wrong, it is kind of cool to look at it for a minute, and I guess the view is kind of nice. This is the Sugarloaf Mountain, in case anybody's wondering. But it was just so absolutely packed with people. It was genuinely insufferable. On our way down, we decided to take the train as opposed to the vans we took up, which is why we had to pay extra, but I definitely recommend you take the trains because I almost got sick from the way the van drivers were driving. Also, you get another little peek at Jesus. Oh my god. It was Jesus. Did you see him? We then met up with another guy from our hostel to get lunch, a surprisingly bad matcha, and this very interesting looking dessert. It was really good though. So we took an Uber to the botanical garden of Rio, and they had these little monkeys that were really cute. So we chilled there for a bit and then went to Ipanema Beach, which was kind of funny because the kanga that I had with me had Ipanema written on it. We ended up staying there the entire afternoon to watch the sunset, and I'm telling you, it just kept looking prettier and prettier. I was so impressed by the sky. When we got back to the hostel, we met up with the people from my room and agreed to go out together tonight. In order to prepare, they took some vodka shots that they ended up spilling Und ich wollte euch nicht diesen kreativen Weg, es sauber zu machen, vorenthalten.
Everyone's videoing my embarrassing vodka cleanup. I'm gonna call that good enough because we're leaving the table anyways. This is surprisingly working.
If there was one feeling that I could ban from my body forever, it would 100% be FOMO. Because I haven't slept properly in like 60 hours. The last time that I woke up well rested was Saturday morning, because then we were in Sao Paulo. I didn't sleep there. The next night I was on the bus to Rio. I didn't sleep there. And now I'm here. And I'm going out tonight. Because there's a street party that's only happening on Monday. So I can't do it tomorrow. But I'm so fucking tired. I'm not even tired. Like, I mean a bit, but I'm just, my social battery is just not there. So I laid in my bed for a bit, staring at the ceiling, getting my shit together, and we went out. While some were patiently waiting for the food to come, others felt the need to order another shot. And by all means, to each their own. I was just really looking forward to my bed. Eine Kuriosität gab es dann aber noch. Please, all of you, take a wild guess what kind of flavor of pizza we ordered. If you guessed half margarita and half mushrooms, you are correct. Where are the mushrooms, you ask? I have no idea. They were tiny Dosenpilze. What is that orange sauce? I have no idea. And if you ask me, no pizza should look like this, no matter the flavor. There was no tomato sauce whatsoever. Italians würden sich im Grab umdrehen. Am nächsten Morgen erstmal Katerfrühstück with another horrifying salad. I'm honestly just gonna give up on salads in Brazil, because do you call that a bite-sized piece? I think we've all established that you need to watch your belongings in Rio. I've talked to so many people who've gotten their phone stolen and didn't have like a backup phone and they were just fucked. I luckily haven't. But the funniest thing happened yesterday. I was luckily not a part of it, but the guy told us, like, one of the guys that we met in the hostel, we went out with him, but he stayed a bit longer than we did. And so when he wanted to go home, the Ubers were like really expensive, so he decided to take a bus in Rio at 3 a.m. as a gringo. So you already see the mistake there. And then guess what happens? This guy comes up to him and he's like, he has a knife, right? And he's like, well, I'm not affiliated with any gang, but I do need to take your money. And it's like he had like the kind of purse like under his shirt, so he got to keep his phone and his credit card. He just took his cash and his cigarettes, and then the guy smoked a cigarette with him and helped him get on the right bus home. The fuck? How does that even happen? I mean, and he got home safely. Like, he was alive, he had his phone, he had his credit card, he just lost like a couple of reais, and I shared a cigarette with the guy who tried to fucking rob him. That is wild. When I took a walk along the beach, I noticed these sand arts that were very interesting. Also da ist man schon an der verfickten Copacabana, ja. Und nicht mal hier ist man vor den Bayern sicher. Auch vor Deutschland prinzipiell nicht. Deswegen fahren wir lieber mal schnell weiter zum Municipal Theater of Rio de Janeiro. Und für alle meine ArchitekturliebhaberInnen ist das wirklich so ein wunderschönes Gebäude. Man kommt leider nur mit einem Ticket oder mit einer Führung rein. Die hatten aber keine Führung am Dienstag und die Saison hat noch nicht angefangen, deswegen konnte ich es mir leider nicht von innen angucken. Und auch die Gebäude, die da drumherum stehen, sind richtig, richtig schön. Back at the hostel, I decided to go watch the sunset at Ipanema. And I just want to say I prefer these beaches over the ones in Santos, because here it gets deep really quickly, so you have to walk less and the water is colder. I went out for dinner with my roommates and had the absolute best chocolate cake ever. Afterwards we went to a night market where it started raining, but I bought these two kangas, and it was already time for me to pack, which was an absolute pain in the ass, so thank you, Oren, for keeping me cold. Speaking of the devil, einen wunderschönen guten Tag. We're here today with
Oren.
whose quotes I'm gonna be quoting because they were fantastic. We were walking through the the botanical garden, and actually, I think it's gonna be funnier without the context. It's just like you.
Personally, I don't think they're funny either way, but you know, I guess the customer is always right.
Of course, yeah, absolutely they are. So sometimes you have to walk through the sun to get to the better shade. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
It's pretty
Either way,
self-explanatory.
yeah.
I also afterwards said another thing that I did not make up, but you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
You said that?
I did.
Oh, I did not hear that.
So that one's honorable mention, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, honorable mention for sure. And then being limited by your tools forces you to get creative. I think that's very inspirational. I've been thinking of that daily since you said that.
Okay,
Which
one-
is
one day.
only today, in fact, since you said it yesterday. And then, most important of all, I will be quoting this every single day from now on: is "Make hay with hay." Und damit einen wunderschönen guten Abend und auf Wiedersehen. The bus back was incredibly luxurious and comfortable. I had so much room, and the seats were so cushioned that my legs didn't touch the floor, nor could I reach the footrest. I ended up sitting alone, so I had even more space. I'm actually so excited right now. Like, I'm in such a good mood. Like, everything has been working out perfectly today. I just love it. I genuinely don't know how much more perfect this trip could get. I have both seats to myself. There is little AC so far, and even if there is, I have two kangas to wrap myself in. I have food, I have water, the bus is on time. I'm happy. There is Wi-Fi. Another thing that is really dope is I'm sitting in the last row, so I don't have to worry about me disturbing the person behind me by reclining my seat. I can just do whatever the fuck I want. So I got cozy and actually managed to sleep a bit until the sun woke me up, and I was actually sweating, so the AC stayed perfectly moderate. Fun fact, those long journey buses always have a fridge with mini waters, and to say that it is gelada would be an understatement. Ich glaube, bei der letzten Pause wurde die fahrende Person ausgewechselt und ich möchte die andere zurückhaben, weil die Person fährt wie ich in meiner ersten bis dritten Fahrstunde. Es ist wirklich, ich weiß nicht, also sowohl beim Bremsen als auch beim Anfahren, das ist so, das ist wirklich, es ist so anstrengend. But I made it home and biked to the mall because there was some shopping that I had to do. My sandals broke, so I had to buy these bad boys. It has always been incredibly difficult for me to find sandals that I like, so these were just absolutely amazing. Hier noch ein kleines Werbefoto. Hello and welcome to the third episode of my Slutventory Rio de Janeiro edition. That was just pronounced horrendously, but that happens if you speak English. So we will just ignore that. I can honestly not even gather all of the people that I made out with because I just forgot. I was trying to keep adding it to the list while it was happening, but it is Rio, so I didn't want to have my phone out all the time. But I did count in my head, and I ended up with 9 or 10 people, and I did take down the highlights, the people that I actually do remember. And so we're just gonna go through those. So the first one on the list, and I'm pretty sure also the first one that I even made out with, was a really random. We were walking down the street, and walking was, girl, it was incredible. This street party was so incredibly packed. It was you were walking tiptoeing, you had to hold on to each other, otherwise you would lose them. It was so packed, and there were people everywhere. It was 2 lanes, and you're just kind of ugh. Yeah, very interesting experience. And so was a group of guys, and one of them did the, so I gave him a kiss. Obviously, he turned his head. I was expecting it. I didn't care. And his boys were like, "Oh my god!" And then the next guy, the one behind him, I kissed him for 2 seconds, and then they were cheering again. It was I don't know, nothing special, a 2 out of 10. I don't know. I don't even remember how the kiss was, but probably not amazing. Then on our way to wherever it was that we were walking, there was a pretty old guy. I'm not gonna lie, but he was hot as fuck. He didn't kiss super good, but he was pretty hot. So it was an 8 out of 10. I did try to find him again afterwards, but he was gone, so too bad. Then I met up with a girl. 10 out of 10, obviously. She was from Berlin, and she did actually come back to kiss me again, so. Then there was a guy watching us make out, and they were cheering as well because, oh my god, 2 women making out. And then he made out with each of us as well. 4 out of 10. There was another guy who was decently hot. We made out, I think the longest? No, I made out the longest with the girl. But we made out for a bit for sure. And he had a nostril piercing. he yanked my septum out. Honestly, I bless this man because he caught it. Like, it fell down and he caught it like right at the hem of his pants. If that thing had fallen down on the floor, I would have needed to disinfect that shit because ew, literally ew. So I put it back in. It was fine, but that was a bit awkward. I'm not gonna lie. But the kiss was nice, but it was a bit horrifying at first because also like the feeling of it was just like, what is happening? I was obviously not sober as well, so it was a fun experience. 7 out of 10. And then there was a guy like right before we left, like literally we were on our way to the Uber, and I mean we walked past each other. We're like 2 out of 10. I wanted to leave, so not bad. Kurzer Real Talk für Rio. I don't know what the fuck that trend is right now, but everybody and their mom, maybe not their mom, but their dad, has like a really weird hairstyle on like with dots, just dots of bleach on like black hair. Stop it. You look ridiculous. I am begging you. I mean, I've had my fair share of dyed hair, but that horrendous, and it's not giving scene. It's not giving 2013 nice alternative person. It's giving it's weird. Maybe also because it's men doing it, but like also the sea in Rio was much nicer in my opinion than the one in Santos because here you have to walk so long to actually get to a decent depth of water, and to me that just kind of it takes the fun away because it's like you're walking and walking, losing the motivation to even go in. And also the water is a lot hotter during the day. It's warm water, like the air is colder than the water, and that's not the point of me going swimming. And Rio, you go in literally. I almost fell in because it is steep. It's kind of scary, but it's nice, and that makes the water cold because it's a lot deeper, so it doesn't get as warm. But the waves were partially really fucking crazy. Like the second day, you could not go in because it was going crazy. But it was still a very nice experience. I love the beaches. I was at Ipanema mainly, walked along Copacabana, but didn't go in. So I didn't want to have my phone out all the time. Oh, you here? I'm so sorry. Were you sleeping? Oh no, not because I was talking, but like I didn't want to wake you up. I'm sorry. Ich habe meinen Text vergessen.
Kommen wir zum Summa Summarum des Tages.
Beziehungsweise der Tage in Rio. Für meine beiden Bustickets habe ich 730 Reais bezahlt. Für eine Nacht im Hostel 27 Euronen. Für alle Uber 236 Reais. Für alles Essen 260. Für meinen Touristy Stuff 120. Und auf dem Night Market habe ich 106 Reais bezahlt. Insgesamt also 1452. Damn, Digga, mir ist nie bewusst, wie viel Geld ich ausgegeben habe, bis ich die Vlogs bearbeite. Das war's von meiner Seite. Bis zum nächsten Mal.
Tschüss.